Osteoarthritis and other arthritic disorders. These are the two most common disorders, that is, one is osteoarthritis and second is rheumatoid arthritis. So today's roadmap for my talk will be on this chronic inflammatory arthritis, that is rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. What is the disease burden? What is the pathophysiology? What is the current option and their limitations? And what is the role of a novel anti-inflammatory agent, that is curcumin, which is newer in this field. We know rheumatoid arthritis is a systemic disorder which is characterized by chronic inflammatory polyarthritis, which is of unknown etiology. It is an inflammatory state which also involves skin, eyes, lungs, and blood vessels. There is a fluctuating clinical course, and the prognosis is unpredictable. It is associated with 60% increase in the cardiovascular related deaths, and it has got multifactorial and complex pathogenesis. As we look inside the hand, which is the most commonest site of rheumatoid arthritis, we see that the MP joint and IP joints, they are swollen. There is pannus formation, there is effusion inside the joint, and the joint capsule is somewhat engorged, and therefore there is there is stiffness of the joint and decreased range of movement. Can you shut down that, please? Focus. Yeah, thank you. Please shut it down. Yeah. What is the pathophysiology of rheumatoid arthritis? There is activation of the macrophages by antigen-presenting cells and T cells, which releases the inflammatory cytokines from macrophages. These are usually TNF-alpha and interleukin-1. This TNF-alpha and interleukin-1 leads to synovitis by stimulation of the synovicites, production of the collagenases, which leads to destruction of the extracellular matrix, and release of MMPs, that is metalloprotease, which leads to cartilage degradation. As we can see that there was a paper on this subject on semen arthritis in 2001. Usually osteoarthritis was considered to be a degenerative disorder which is due to the aging phenomenon. But nowadays osteoarthritis is also considered as inflammatory arthritis because the same inflammatory mediators like TNF-alpha and IL-1 are also involved in this process pathogenesis of osteoarthritis. Apart from that, you get IL-6, IL-17 and MMPs also to be implicated in osteoarthritis. Hence, osteoarthritis is an inflammatory arthritis. So combinedly, RA and OA, they have got the same pathophysiology, that is secretion of TNF-alpha and IL-1, which are the major inflammatory cytokines which are involved in this process of pathogenesis of RA and OA. Release of these inflammatory cytokines is regulated by a factor which is known as nuclear factor kappa B, that is NFKB. This NFKB is a transcription factor which is present in all cells. NFKB plays an important essential role in inflammatory and immune response. This was the paper in osteoarthritis and cartilage in 2006. Now we can see that this is the NFKB switch which is responsible for the inflammation. So it acts as a master switch to turn on inflammation on and off inside the body. The disorders which are associated with NFKB activation are RA, OA, ankylosing spondylitis, psoriatic arthritis, and juvenile arthritis. Hence, NF-κB is the master switch of inflammation. So what happens? There is a cell membrane. You have got inactive NF-κB, which is already there inside the cell, which is made inactive by IkB, that is inhibitor of kappa B. You have got the nucleus. There is the chromosome inside the nucleus and cytoplasm. The process of activation of NAKB by the inflammatory stimuli, that is TNF alpha and IL-1, activation of NF-κB by inhibiting the inhibitor of kappa B, it leads to active formation of NF-κB. This NF-κB translocates inside the nucleus and it leads to activation of the genes, encoding of the inflammatory mediators and release of inflammatory mediators like COX-2, INOS, TNF alpha again, IL-1 and IL-6. This was the paper in osteoarthritis and cartilage in 2010. Now this leads to these pro-inflammatory cytokines, they release in the circulation, which leads to the inflammation of proliferation of cyanoacids, leading to formation of tannus, increase activity of COX-2 and MMPs, which leads to destruction of the cartilage, and osteoclastogenesis, which leads to bone resorption. So NF-κB plays a very crucial role in inflammatory and immune responses through the regulation of genes encoding pro-inflammatory cytokines and inducible enzymes. So anything which blocks this NF-κB will be the major innovative option for management of arthritis. Now this curcumin is a wonder pigment which is present in the turmeric, and the plant of turmeric is, there are so many varieties, but turmeric longa is the plant which is which gives good quality of turmeric. Now turmeric is known to Indian civilization since 1900 BC, since the age of Ayurveda. We know that turmeric is useful for all types of wound healing. It is responsible for aches and pains, even in cases of psoriatic arthritis, other types of arthritis, and in cases of, it is now research is going on to, turmeric is useful in prevention of and treatment of cancer and other gastrointestinal disorders. So it is called as a wonder drug for the wonder molecule for the mankind, and it is, most of the turmeric is usually available from India. So this spice gives a pigment that is called as curcumin, and this pigment is responsible for the yellow color of the turmeric. Now it is just 5% of the whole of the, suppose you take 100 gram of turmeric, you get only 5 gram of curcumin. So it is very less in form, although the quantity of turmeric will be seen as a very big quantity, but curcumin is very less as it is extracted from the turmeric. It possesses diverse properties as anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-proliferative, and anti-angiogenic. There are in India 65 clinical trials with more than 1,000 patients. They have completed these clinical trials, and more than 35 ongoing trials are going on curcumin. Curcumin is NF-κB inhibitor. It leads to switch off this NF-κB and therefore there will be no inflammation. So it controls NF-κB, the master switch of inflammation. Again, coming to the basic, the inactive form of NF-κB, which is made active by IkB kinase. Now curcumin goes inside the cell it prevents IPG kinase, it prevents the activation of NF-kB and by inhibiting the IKB kinase, and hence translocation of the NF-kB inside the nucleus is prevented, and it prevents the release of inflammatory mediators. So, what is the evidence of curcumin in RA and OA? There were two studies. One was the curcumin was combined with diclofenac in RA. Curcumin provided greater improvement in disease activity score and ACR scores as compared to diclofenac. There was 50% reduction of CRP levels with curcumin. Hence, curcumin is effective and safe in patients with active rheumatoid arthritis. Second study, 18 patients with RA were treated with curcumin for 2 weeks. Curcumin improved joint swelling, morning stiffness, and walking time. Curcumin was very well tolerated with better GI tolerability. Hence, curcumin is effective and well tolerated in treatment of RA. This was the paper in Indian Journal of Medicine, 1980. What is the role of curcumin in OA? One study, curcumin as a monotherapy, approximately 800 patients with OA were treated on outpatient basis for 6 months. The results were curcumin therapy provided significant improvement in pain, joint flexibility, and better quality of life. More than 50% patients were able to discontinue NSAIDs and analgesics. Curcumin therapy was very well tolerated in this study. Hence, curcumin relieves pain and reduces the need of NSAIDs in OA. This was the paper in Open Rheumatology Journal, 2014. Second OA study was with ibuprofen. The curcumin is so potent that you can compare with results of curcumin with ibuprofen. Around 360 patients with primary knee OA were treated with curcumin and ibuprofen, and there was significant decrease in OMAC pain, stiffness, and function score from baseline in both groups. Curcumin was found as effective as ibuprofen, and there was lower incidence of GI adverse events. Hence, curcumin is an effective as NSAIDs, but has better GI tolerability. This was the paper in Clinical Intervention in Aging, 2014. Third evidence, curcumin as a monotherapy in OA. 100 patients with OA were treated with curcumin for 8 months. The results were significant decrease in serum inflammatory biomarkers, more than 50% decrease in OMAC score, and 3-fold increase in treadmill walking performance. In patients already on NSAIDs and analgesics, co-administration of curcumin was associated with decreased need for NSAIDs and marked reduction in GI side effects. Hence, curcumin is effective and safe for the long-term management of OA. This was again a paper in Alternative Medicine Review, 2010. Fourth evidence, curcumin, and it was compared with diclofenac. 88 patients for 3 months as compared to diclofenac monotherapy. Combination of curcumin with diclofenac was associated with great pain relief and better improvement in knee injury and osteoarthritis outcome score. Hence, curcumin when combined with NSAID provides additional benefits. It was the paper in Journal of Medicine Medical Association in Thailand, 2012. Now, combination therapy of curcumin with celecoxib. It enhances the action of celecoxib on COX-2. It decreases need for celecoxib. Second, when it is combined with prednisolone, it has got additive anti-inflammatory action. There is significant reduction in joint swelling and reduction in side effects due to steroids. Curcumin, when administered with methotrexate, it is again having synergistic anti-arthritic action, may help to reduce dose of methotrexate, and they reduce the risk of hepatotoxicity and hematological toxicities. So these were the evidence of curcumin with this combination therapy in these papers. Safety of curcumin is, it is generally recognized as safe, that is GRAS by US FDA. No noticeable adverse events were observed with doses up to 8 grams daily for 3 months. Unlike NSAIDs, they were free from adverse effects on kidney, liver, and CV system. Occasional patients may complain of mild or transient nausea and diarrhea. Hence, unlike NSAIDs, steroids and DMARDs, curcumin is well tolerated. This was the evidence in Molecule 2011. So, here is the novel product curcumin, which is under research by Cadila, and they will bring this molecule next, probably next year. And already there are drugs in the market which I am prescribing, but they are not bioactive. So, limitations of curcumin. What are the limitations? It is poorly water soluble, it is a polyphenolic compound, and it is poorly absorbed from GI tract. It is undetectable in plasma, it does not reach systemic organs and tissues, and hence there is a questionable efficacy of curcumin. How it is effective? The clinical trials carried out with conventional curcumin, have used high doses up to 12 grams per day. Few studies have not shown positive results, and therefore, again there was poor GI tolerability. So, there is a need for bioavailable, effective and well tolerated curcumin formulation. Hence, the research is going on bio-enhanced curcumin, because bioavailability of the curcumin is very less. It is not absorbed from the gut, intestine, and therefore, you have to make it absorbable. To overcome the limitations of conventional curcumin, a novel formulation of curcumin using self-micro-emulsifying drug delivery system, SME-DDS, has been developed. This SME-DDS technology provides nano-size hydrophilic droplets of curcumin, improved absorption, and better tissue penetration. When compared with, in case of human pharmacokinetic study with conventional curcumin, they have found that with 100 and 200 milligram of curcumin, there is increased plasma concentration, nanogram per ml, compared to the conventional preparations which are available in the market today. Hence, this bio-enhanced curcumin ensures higher bioavailability. What are the doses? The exact dose may vary from patient to patient, degree of inflammation or patient response. Majority of the patients will get relief from with mild to moderate inflammation, usually respond with 100 to 200 milligram per day. If required, you can increase the dose to 400 milligram. The summary, it inhibits curcumin, bio-enhanced curcumin, inhibits the master switch of inflammation, that is NF-kB. It decreases the release of inflammatory prostaglandins and cytokines. Monotherapy is found to be effective and safe in treatment of RA and OA. The efficacy of curcumin is at par with NSAIDs, but with greater GI tolerability. It can be used along with NSAIDs and steroids, and it provides additive and synergetic action. It helps in dose reduction. It can be used along with methotrexate, helps reduce the risk of hepatotoxicity. Unlike biologics, it can be given orally, is safe and well tolerated. Hence, it is a suitable option for monotherapy as well as combination therapy. What is the place of therapy? It is an attractive option in management of RA and OA, either as mono or combination. Particularly useful option when the patient is intolerant to NSAIDs compared to compromised renal function, hepatic dysfunction, and CV disorders. Hence, curcumin is effective, safe, and well tolerated treatment option. I thank you.